Hi, Caleb Hitt here. Yesterday I shared a link on my Facebook page from an article from CNBC.com, and the article title is U.S.-Saudi Arabia seal weapons deal worth nearly $110 billion as Trump begins visit. The subheading is, as President Donald Trump begins an official visit to Saudi Arabia, the U.S. finalized a weapons deal that boosts the kingdom's security. Now, I did comment on this. If you want to read the article, go check it out for yourself. Shame on you, Trump, for directly supporting terrorist state. Why are you following the Hillary playbook? Putting America first? Yeah, right, and I'm Mickey Mouse. Perhaps I shouldn't be so sympathetic to you with your deep state troubles. Now, I had some very interesting comments on this post. I will share briefly. One, Justin Spencer commented, Saudi Arabia owns a substantial portion of this country. It's why they bought most of the politicians. Saudi Arabia is, for all intents and purposes, ISIS in the form of a country. So the headline may as well really read, Trump reaches a $100 billion weapon deal with ISIS. I followed that up with Roger Stone tweeted a photo of Donald Trump bending his knee so he can receive some Saudi bling bling around his neck, of course. He actually tweeted, candidly, this makes me want to puke. Writer and author David Rizzolatti shared, I tried to warn people, Trump's a deep state operative. All of the BS is just a distraction as usual. Diane Marino commented, it is protocol. It is all about the money masters getting great corporate deals with the Saudis. The Daily Caller tweeted an article called Opinion. President Trump's Saudi arms deal helps leading exporter of Islamic extremism. So I replied back, if you want to know what's really going on with Trump and Saudi visit, follow the money. $110 billion arms deal to a Sunni terrorist state. Pathetic. Now, I also posted this article on my Facebook page, and I commented, pathetic. But Alex Jones calls Trump's Saudi visit today a master stroke. End quote. While Trump seems to have said some good things during his Riyadh speech, if you really want to know what's going on, all you need to do is follow the money. David Rizzolatti commented, sometimes the only thing that can be said is, I told you so. Now, in this piece by the Daily Caller, they write, President Trump officially signed a $110 billion arms deal with Saudi Arabia on Saturday, and it's just another sign that Trump is diverging from his campaign rhetoric on foreign policy. On the campaign trail, Trump said the Gulf state was involved in the 9/11 terror attacks and previously wrote that it funds terror. Now he's trying to start an Arab NATO with the Saudis and sell them high-grade military tech. But more concerning than the president's apparent flip-flop is the deepening ties with a nation that is arguably the leading exporter of Islamic extremism in the world and not exactly a force for stability in the Middle East. Throughout the world, and especially in Europe, Saudi Arabia funds mosques and Islamic schools that teach a fundamentalist version of the faith and undermines any attempts at moderation, according to the New York Times. These Saudi-funded centers have served as the breeding grounds for jihadis and are a leading factor behind the strength of Islamic extremism in immigrant communities throughout Europe. Saudi Arabia is itself a theocratic regime built on the tenets of Salafism and appears to have no interest in stopping its spread around the world. It's doubtful becoming the leading partner in Arab NATO will change their minds on this matter. In the Middle East, Saudi Arabia has funded numerous radical militias in Syria and is currently starving Yemen as part of its role in that country's brutal civil war. The Saudis have in the past financially supported the al-Qaeda-backed al-Nusra Front in the Syrian conflict and are the chief backers of slightly more moderate Salafists who themselves often fight alongside al-Nusra. Additionally, according to Hillary Clinton and others, Saudi Arabia is funding ISIS. Saudi Arabia has been using a large portion of its massive military budget to intervene into Yemen's civil war, which has largely proven fruitless against a much less sophisticated foe. The intervention has appeared to only result in a devastating famine in the country and a high number of civilian deaths from an indiscriminate bombing campaign. It doesn't take a genius to see as to what end Saudi Arabia will put its fancy new weapons to use. Is it really in America's interest to fund al-Qaeda-friendly rebels and bomb Yemeni civilians? This is a question we need to start asking as a country before we start selling them more high-grade military equipment. It's hard to say you're putting America first when you're allying yourself with a country that it's totally okay with fueling the flames of Islamic extremism in the West. Now, just as a quick disclaimer of my own, I personally did vote for Donald Trump as president, but it's not too difficult to see where he's going sideways on certain issues. Granted, yes, of course, he has done some good things, but on this case, I think we need to hold him accountable. This is Caleb Hitt reporting for Battle of New Orleans Radio and thedailyresistance.com. Wake up, resist daily, or become a slave.